It's the first Friday feedback of 2024. I love hearing from folks in the audience, sometimes more than others, depending on whether they are calling me vile anti-Semitic things or giving me constructive and useful feedback about the show. You can always email info@davidpakman.com with any of your thoughts. Sometimes we will pull comments from Reddit or YouTube or TikTok or who knows where. We start today with a post by Zachy DJ to the subreddit. Zachy says, I really enjoyed Brittany Page as guest host. I thought Brittany Page did a fantastic job as guest host. Reasoned, level-headed delivery is exactly why I listened to the David Pakman Show, and Brittany nailed it. Also, her dry humor is reminiscent of David. Would love to see her guest host again in the future. Yeah, no hate to Farron Cousins or Jesse Dollemore, but usually when we hear about guest hosts, the ratio of I hated them rather than I liked them is like 4-1. With Brittany Page, it was like 4-1 people like Brittany Page. So I thought everybody did great. There were great stories for everybody to cover. And sometimes also it's about fit. You know, there are stories that are more up the alley of certain hosts. Like there's certain stories that when I do them, nobody cares. But when someone else does them, it's just like a better fit. This is just something that kind of happens in this business. And I thought everybody got stories just by virtue of the chance of the news cycle that were really good. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Great job by Brittany and Jesse and Farron. And it's a great thing. Let's go now to some critiques, okay? John Scott says, David won't tell you about Joe Biden's corruption. He can't handle it. Listen, I've been looking everywhere for this corruption. I've been looking for evidence that Joe Biden received money from China. I couldn't find it. I've been looking for evidence that Joe Biden made a policy change that was in order to benefit someone that had paid his son Hunter Biden. I couldn't find it. But it's not just me. When Republicans are asked, when James Comer is asked, when Nancy Mace is asked, when Jim Jordan is asked, when they are all asked, okay, right, criminal bribery, it's crazy, it's terrible, it's embarrassing. Give me an example of that. They go, well, we're looking for the examples. That's why we need to impeach the guy. We've got to figure out where it is. They don't have anything. And so I will tell you about Joe Biden's corruption as soon as I find some evidence of Joe Biden's corruption. If you're listening to this show, you'll be the first to know about the corruption because I'll tell you. Gabriel Gurley wrote in, God sends all kinds of men to complete his missions. Trump is one of those. This I find funny because the idea that, listen, it's up to you to figure, I'm not going to be able to convince you one way or the other whether God is choosing political candidates in the United States, right? God, all power, all seeing, everything. Involved in the ever-expanding universe, every planet, every star controls everything, and is getting involved in who's the Republican nominee in one country on one planet. I mean, it's hard to believe, but if you believe that, you believe that. If that is the level of involvement that God has, it's a little weird to me that Trump would be the guy he chooses to send, right? The guy with all the bankruptcies who says he's a great business person, the guy who is supposed to be godly, except he's had all these divorces, affairs, cheating, payoffs, all these different. It's all a little difficult to believe that this is the guy God would choose, but maybe God has a funny sense of humor. I don't really know. Mally wrote in via TikTok and says, Canadian here, keep your opinions to yourself. You want to focus on emissions? Look at your own country first. Stupid left-wing Americans, you really think the world runs on Skittles and good vibes, don't you? I have to be honest, I don't know what the hell this person's talking about. Is this pro-oil or anti-oil? I can't even tell. And also, what on earth did I mention about Canada's emissions? I don't remember mentioning that at all. Maybe this comment was meant for a different show. I'm not really sure. The user Be Unapologetically Patriotic asks, hey, David, when are you going to start talking about Joe Biden's replacement for the nominee? It's hilarious watching you and the rest of the liberals pretend he'll be the one running next year. I will tell you, I have an answer to this question, okay? I will start talking about Joe Biden's replacement for the nominee as soon as I have any evidence that Joe Biden is not going to be the nominee. If Joe Biden says I'm no longer running for re-election, I will immediately start talking about his replacement. If Joe Biden drops dead, I will immediately start talking about his replacement. If it looks like someone's going to defeat Joe Biden in a primary that isn't even happening, I will immediately start talking about Joe Biden's replacement. Is that fair? Are those fair answers to the question, when will I start talking about his replacement? Let me know. Ian Reed wrote in and says, the worst thing about Trump isn't what we've learned about him. It's what we've learned about our family, friends, and neighbors that still support him. This is a super sad comment and also very true. As I've said before, Trump's a problem, but the real problem is a country where 70-something million people say, this is the guy I want to be president, and who are going to say it again. Many are going to say it again when they vote in just a few months. That is really the sad part. Unqualified people exist everywhere, right? I get calls from people who go, David, I'm running for president. Okay, well, you're not going to get any votes. And we say, it's good, right? Anybody can run, but they shouldn't all get votes. The problem with Trump is we have a country that was perfectly suited for Trump to con them in 2016 and then to convince them that they weren't conned, so that many of them voted for him again in 2020. Fortunately, not enough for him to win. And many are going to vote for him again in 2024. Ian is right. We've learned that so many of our friends, family, and neighbors still support the guy. Kathy wrote in about Trump's desire for immunity. She says, funny how Trump wants total presidential immunity, yet doesn't want the same for President Biden. The words Republican and logic do not belong in the same sentence. You know, Mark Cuban, the entrepreneur and part owner, or I think he's trying to sell his stake in the Dallas Mavericks NBA team. Cuban posted something funny, which was, listen, you know what? Trump should be, the Supreme Court should give Trump total immunity for what he did, trying to steal the election and everything. And then Joe Biden should come out and say, I will not be leaving the Oval Office. Win or lose, I am going to remain president. The Supreme Court has already said, I get total immunity. Presidents get total immunity. I'll remain president until I die. And of course, we all know that these are people who are total hypocrites with double standards. They want Joe Biden indicted for this, that, the other thing. If Joe Biden tried to remain president, they would say throw him in jail, but are arguing for total and complete immunity for Donald Trump. It's not new that they are hypocrites. It's not new. Finally, here is Jeff Bass. Jeff wrote to me and said, but you can call him a failed president. I would love to see you debate Benny Johnson. We know that would never happen because he would wipe the floor with you. This whole debate this person thing is really funny to me. As I've said before, debates that are for public consumption really are about who's most articulate and charismatic. They're really not about who has the facts on their side. And it's very funny when people go, debate this person or debate that person. About on what topic? About what? What do you mean? And so the vague claim that you should debate X, Y, or Z person is just a desire to put two people against each other and see what the optics look like. You don't actually care about getting any solutions or figuring out reality. You just care about pitting people against each other for a show. It's entertainment politics. It's not productive. Now, as far as me debating people, we have debates all the time on the show. When the topic makes sense, then we do the debate. But the idea of just debate someone for the sake of debating them is one of the lame, unfortunately, it's one of the lamest things, these internet blood sports sort of things. It's one of the worst directions that the online political space has taken. And so I'll participate in debates. I don't participate in debates on issues for which I am not the best person to articulate views against whoever it is, some right winger in the audience says I should debate so that they mop the floor with me. That's not really what we do here. But if you have suggestions, if you want to write in and say, hey, you know what, David? you should really debate Benny Johnson about his view on X. And if the topic X is something I'm well-versed in and he's well-versed in, then maybe we get ourselves a debate. That's something to consider. We have a fantastic bonus show coming up for you today. So great to be back. It's 2024, the election, the shows, everything. Remember that the coupon code SAVEDEMOCRACY24, SAVEDEMOCRACY24, saves you 60% off the cost of a membership at joinpacman.com.